Love finances the other F word and want to support the show? Become a patron by going to patreon.com/FTOFW. You'll get special features, a shout out on the air, and early releases. Or if you prefer, pick up some merchandise at financestheotherfword.com.
As fantastic a CFP as Mel O is, as wonderful an attorney as I am, and as good as Stormy is at whatever it is he does, please do note that anything said in our podcasts are our opinions alone and are not meant to be taken as financial or legal advice.
Welcome to Finances, the Other F Word, a Gen Xer podcast for musicians and music lovers, where we discuss money and music without all the pretentious bullshit. Here are your hosts, Zoe Terry, attorney at large, Stormy Andrews, founder of Yokel Local Marketing, and Mel O, certified financial planner and author of Finances, the Other F Word. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello.
Hello, mate.
Hello.
That's
all
it.
fucking loud in the microphone.
Bye.
Bye. Good day. Hey guys, welcome to Finances, the Other F Word. And today on the podcast, we are going to be talking about Black Monday. We're going to also be talking about the flash crash of 2010 and what has changed and what really hasn't, actually. And then we're going to be talking about some of our favorite and worst videos from the 80s and 90s, and there is quite a few of them. But first, we will shoot it over to Zoe to give us an update on some of the cool-ass articles she's been posting.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. It's been a while.
It has.
How are you?
Hey, nice to see you, Zoe.
Nice to see
You
you.
should
How
have
was
heard the things
vacation?
Mel O said about you while you were away.
I'm sure it was all very nice and pleasant.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
Always.
All right. Well, this past week, even though I was on vacay, I posted some articles as usual. A lot of them were, again, are you breathing or coughing?
I'm
or
breathing,
both?
I'm coughing, and I'm doing all kinds of shit right now. I've been really trying to control my breathing.
rude.
I'm sorry,
I
but
know.
it's still not helping.
She's still doing it, though. A lot of the articles were surrounding the continued celebration of 50 years of Woodstock. And one of my favorites was 5 myths surrounding Woodstock. So I'm just going to briefly summarize those 5 myths for you. The first one was that Woodstock was not actually held in Woodstock. It was held, they wanted to hold it there, but Woodstock townspeople said, no, get off my land. And it was held in Bethel in New York.
I honestly did not know that. I just assumed it was held in Woodstock, New York, wherever that is.
Yeah, as you probably would with it being called Woodstock. But anyway,
Absolutely.
it wasn't. The second popular myth is Arlo Guthrie announced on stage, New York State Thruway is closed, man. Probably just like that, only in an American accent. But in fact, there were long delays, 8-hour delays between New York and the concert site, and one of the highway exits were closed, but not the whole.
And this is due to the concert?
Yeah.
So it's like the Epicenter festival we talked about with
Right.
their problems with all the traffic.
But the whole New York State Thruway was not closed, man.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
would have been cool. Would have been cooler if it was.
Yeah, but it wasn't. So, the third popular myth were that a whole load of babies were born there. I'm sure there were a whole lot conceived
When
there.
they've been born, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
there were a couple of babies born almost there. One baby was born at a local hospital after the mum had to be flown out from the concert by helicopter, and another was born in a car that was stuck in traffic.
Wow.
Yes. Another popular myth was that Max Yasker, however you say that, who was the farmer who owned the land, he went up on stage and made out that he was a country bumpkin farmer, not used to talking to big crowds. But in actual fact, he was quite an astute businessman who owned a big dairy farm. So,
Well, yeah, he had all the land for enough of those people. There, I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
yeah, so he wasn't
dumb farmer that he tried to make out that he was. And the fifth popular myth was that it was three days of peace and music. In actual fact, the whole thing bled onto it started on the 15th of August and it continued on until the early hours of the 18th. And Jimi Hendrix came on in the early hours of the 18th when quite a lot of the crowd had left, apparently.
Oh, man, you
How
miss
bummed
Jimi
would you be?
Hendrix. Yeah, no shit.
If you're like,
setting his thing on
I'm
fire.
going to get my coat because I want to, beat the
setting
traffic.
Setting his guitar on fire and
Yeah.
epic, the Star Spangled Banner performance. Wow.
Another really cool article that I posted was about the iconic couple that is pictured on the album cover for the Woodstock Festival that's embracing underneath a blanket. I don't know if you...
I think I've seen that.
Yeah. Anyway, they're still together even today.
Wow.
They're called Nick and Bobby Erkerline, and they've been married for 48 years and have 4 grandchildren. So isn't that sweet?
Wow.
Yes. Other articles, lots of articles still with it being festival season about festivals. A BBC article confirmed that music festivals are good for your health because they help reduce stress. They can reduce the risk of depression and preserve cognition in people over 50.
So do cookies.
But
I mean, can you say that with everything? I mean, I'm completely good with that, but I mean, you could pretty much say anything is relieve stress. Sex, for instance, I've heard.
Relieve
I've
stress?
heard
Relieve stress, yes.
that doesn't really tie into my festival
Okay.
article thing, but thanks. Well, I'm sure sex is very good for all kinds of things also, but go to a good festival and have sex.
And conceive a child.
And conceive a child.
Don't
Like
do that
Zoe.
bit. Well, unless it's me, and then of course.
No, that
you
you're
really
the
want
warning.
to do
You're
that.
the warning.
Another thing celebrating 50 years is the Beatles' Abbey Road album with the famous cover photograph, and a whole ton of fans from all over the world launched themselves onto London's Abbey Road on the 8th of August because that was the 50th anniversary, and so there was lots and lots of photographs of people on Abbey Road. So that was interesting. And then another article that of interest in the past week was, we like to talk about our music memorabilia. And the 1957 Gibson guitar that was played by Dwayne Allman of the Allman Brothers Band.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's Dwayne Allman.
Wrote the song Melissa.
Oh.
Go ahead.
That guitar sold at auction for $1.25 million.
Wow.
He dated Cher for a minute. She'll come up later.
And apparently that guitar was used also by Derek and the Dominoes when they played Layla.
And Eric Clapton is coming to Vegas September 13th. And I did not text my mother that.
Note to self.
Wow,
Note
what kind
to
of child
self.
are you?
I know. I
Wow.
was only going to do it like 5 times. We kept forgetting. Go ahead.
That was it. That's
okay.
That's my brief little roundup of articles in the past week.
Every time
So-
she says round up.
Yeah.
Is that rude
Little
over
chuck
here?
wagon. No, it's like the dog food, right?
Yeah, the dog was running and
Running,
it was
and it's a little
it's a
round
little
wagon.
chuck wagon. Yeah.
Running around the kitchen.
So it was good. It was good times, good times. So thank you for that article roundup,
Yeah, thank you.
Anytime.
Zoe. And glad you're back from slacking vacation.
Oh, it was so much slacking. Vacation with 2 teenage boys is so much fun.
Yeah, it sounds
Did it
like,
reduce stress?
it literally sounds like my personal hell. I'm serious. But good. I'm good. I'm glad. Good for you. And glad it's your kids and not mine. So we're gonna talk a little bit about.
Shout out to the boys back to school today.
Yeah.
Woo!
Shout out.
Yeah. Well, you don't. All your kids are out, and your kids are in.
Well, at least the ones I know of.
They're the
Two,
ones you
two
know.
out, 2 in.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yes, and now I'm stuck behind all the fucking school buses again. So that's how I know school's back in. I'm like, where did you come from? Seriously? Jesus Christ. And then they stop and it's just a whole fucking thing. And it takes like every little kid takes 30 minutes to get off the fucking bus now, man. When I was getting off the bus, I just ran off the bus. I didn't sit, meander, and fuck around on my phone and take 20 minutes to get off the bus. And I'm back and behind him, like losing my shit. Maybe that's just me.
Mel
Is that
loves
just me?
kids, so if
Yeah,
anyone needs a
absolutely.
babysitter,
Call Mel O.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's your
She's your girl.
babysitter.
All right, let's talk.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about fun stuff. Okay, so Black Monday is an incident, and Stormy before the podcast got the year exactly correct. Black Monday happened in October of 1987. It was our first run-in with a flash crash. A flash crash is any time that there is a steep downward movement in the market due to various reasons. And in 1987, we had a situation where Hong Kong had their market sell off, and we had a whole bunch of other world events right within the same time frame. I believe it was Iran hit two of our different two super tankers owned by American companies, and there was an unrest in the Middle East. Imagine that. And then we had Hong Kong. The flash crash was on October 19th, 1987, and on October 16th, London had a huge storm come through.
oh, I was in Tunisia, so I missed it.
Okay, where's Tunisia? I don't know where Tunisia is.
North Africa. I
North
was on my
Africa.
first foreign vacation with my family. My dad was trying to sell me and my sister for some chickens and goats.
It didn't work, obviously.
He thought they were joking, but clearly they weren't. But yeah, when we came back, there'd been these huge storms, and 7 oaks had been reduced to 1 oak and things like that. But yes. So.
Yeah, and I don't remember any of this. I was too young at the time, but because of that monumental storm that went through London, it ended up closing the London Stock Exchange, and it was closed early on Friday. Then we had the weekend that passed. We had some issues going on in Hong Kong, and by the time our markets opened October 19th, we had a massive sellout because Hong Kong had already dropped, and it was still to this day, it's the largest drop on the Dow in one day, and we lost over 22% on the Dow in one day. Now, in our previous episodes, we talked about the Dow being 30 companies, and we talked about them being weighted. And this is going to be important when I circle back to this here in a couple minutes. So remember, on the Dow, the way it's weighted is there's 30 stocks, and the most expensive stock is the one that carries the most weight in the Dow. So if you have 30 stocks and the largest stock in the Dow has a shit day, even if the other 29 stocks, do an okay day, the Dow is probably going to be down because it's weighted. And if vice versa. So that's how the Dow is actually weighted. So in that one day, we lost over 22% instantaneously on the Dow, and we ended up going into we were pulling out of a heavy recovery in the market, and we ended up starting to slow at that point. And by the time everything was said and done, by the end of October, Hong Kong was down 45%, Australia was down 41%, the United Kingdom was down 26%, and of course we were down 22%. And what ended up happening was, originally when Black Monday hit, they said that it was the problem of the computer programs that were doing the trading. But this is 87. So first of all, they had like Commodore 64s.
Pretty much.
In-home
Commodore and Ataris.
computers,
Yep.
and Spelunker. Did you guys play Spelunker?
I didn't play Splunker, but I had a Commodore 64.
Did you play Larry the Lounge Lizard?
Yes.
Oh my God, do you know what we're talking about?
No, we had a
Oh, I'm sorry.
ZX81.
I was thinking of Leisure Suit Larry. My
No,
bad.
yeah, no, that's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Leisure Suit. I'm
Suit
sorry.
Larry.
What I said, Larry
Larry
the Lounge
Lizard.
No, whatever.
Leisure
they're all.
Suit Larry.
Yes, so Leisure Suit Larry was it was almost like a Sims game where you got to make decisions, and I think the whole point was you're trying to get laid.
Correct.
That's the whole game.
Wow.
And they had this thing where when you first came up, it would say, answer these questions to prove you're over 18. And of course, I'd fail them all the time. My dad had it on his computer. But if you just keep doing it, you memorize the questions and then you get in. But I kept, you pick up a prostitute, but if you don't buy condoms before you pick up the prostitute, then you end up dying from syphilis or something. It was a very adult game, and it was awesome. I thought it'd be so cool to play that now.
Absolutely. We got to find a Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh,
I've never heard of it. It sounds fascinating.
Maybe it's just an American
Yeah, it must have
thing
been.
on the Commodore 64 and then Spelunker. But so at the time in 1987, they blamed it on the computer programs. But again, we're talking about, computers were the size of, a huge room, and their trading power was very limited. And this is going to become.
Hey, Leisure Suit Larry and the Lounge Lizards trailer. So there's a connection. So there's actually lots of videos online about Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh, my God.
And apparently, Steam, you can get the Leisure Suit Larry game. So there's places where you can get it.
Oh, it is so great. I would love to get a good buzz on and just sit and play Leisure Suit Larry. Oh,
Absolutely.
my gosh. And I don't know. I never know how far my dad got on the game. He never told me, but I don't know. He probably got to the end. I mean, I have no idea. But
What happens in the end?
I don't know. I kept
you don't know?
dying.
Yeah.
I kept dying of syphilis or something. I don't know. I just couldn't. I couldn't figure out the magic way to have sex and not die. So I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it's a fucking. It is a stellar game. It's just fan, and it's like that pixelated, like he walks in. It was fucking great. So anyway, we had Commodore 64s and Omegas in the, or not Omegas, Amigas, I think, in the homes, but the big trading computers are still as big as rooms, and they blamed it on the computer programmers the programs that were triggered by the Hong Kong sell-off. And what ended up happening is that anytime you have this come through, and we're going to see this exact same thing surface again in 2010, which shows you how far we haven't come, I guess, is that anytime you have a big sell-off in a market, what happens is there's all of these trades that are just hanging out waiting to execute in the stock market. And you can protect a portfolio by doing a couple different things. You can do puts, and you can do calls, and you can do limit orders, and you can do stop orders. And I'm not going to get into too much of them there. But basically what those things do is, depending on what side you're on, they either say, hey, if this triggers at this price, I want to sell it because I want to harvest a gain, or if it drops to this price, I want to sell it and limit my loss. And depending on what side of the coin you're on is going to depend on how you're putting in your stops and your limit orders and all of those things. And so what happened is because of the computer programs, it ended up triggering all of these in 1987, and we had a massive loss on the Dow. Now, fast forward to May 2010, when we have another big flash crash, which there's a couple people pointing fingers on this. And I remember at the time I was in a company meeting, and on the phone, all of a sudden we see that the Dow it drops like 600 points in 3 minutes or something like that. And everybody's like, what the fuck is going on? Nobody can figure out what's going on. We can't get out of the meeting. It's a mandatory meeting about some bullshit. I don't know what it was. And we're in there and we're just like, holy crap, we don't even know what to do. And then, of course, by the end of the day, it recovered most of it. And so there was a couple different things that happened, and this will serve as a cautionary warning to you guys to listen to this podcast and share this podcast with your friends, because this is important information that you need to know. And there is a gentleman, he has a very long name, and I'm just going to say his last name, which I think is Sarao. I think I'm pronouncing it right. In London. Zoe, I'm looking at you. Mm-hmm. Totally her fault. Yeah. So basically what he had done was he had taken trading software, and he modified it by overriding the code. And what he did, this is one of the explanations of what happened as far as with the whole thing in 2010. He put a whole bunch of sell orders in, and then he canceled them right away. So this is what happens. There's all kinds of stuff going on in the market. There's futures and there's future contracts. And so a future would be people betting on what they think the market's going to do in the future. It's considered a futures contract. That's what it's called. And so what he did was he went in and he put in a sell on a whole bunch of these contracts with the intention to drive down the price, so he could turn around and then buy really, really low and then make a whole ton of money, to the tune of the trades that he put in with the intention to cancel of about $200 million.
Oh, not bad. Not a bad day at the office.
Well, I mean, that was the total. That wasn't what he made. That was the total of just the contracts
gotcha.
of when he ended up driving down the market. So there was a whole stink about this, and then they ended up filing charges against him, and they hauled him in, and he did this from his parents' house, by the way. But when they actually ended up hauling him into court, everybody was like, oh, this one little guy couldn't have possibly did this, all this bullshit. And he had made, in his time, he ended up having an investment company, and I don't know if he had the investment company after or before, but he ended up having an investment company that from the couple of the years that he operated, he had made from 2009 to 2015, he had made $40 million in profits.
Wow, how old is he?
For his company. You know what? I don't have I don't have a date, or I don't have a. I mean, I'm assuming 30 something. I think maybe I had read in here his thing. So from 2009 to 2015, he made $40 million in profits. And when they hauled his ass to jail and they tried to put charges against him, all the money had been stolen.
Oh.
Isn't that horrible? Oh, yeah. So all the $40 million fucking dollars he made fucking everybody else to get his money ended up being stolen or was lost. And
I'm sure it was stolen.
Yes,
by his cousin's best friend's nephew, and I'm sure he's living the life today.
And that's what. Well, so they turned him over to and I don't understand how the law works, but they turned him over to the guardianship of his father, which I don't know what that even.
So maybe he was 18.
Means. No, he was an adult. Yeah, I mean, I don't, because he had his own investment firm.
Okay.
And so anyway, the $40 million was stolen and he got off scot-fucking-free. And some of you might remember Madoff did that.
Yep.
That was the exact same thing he did when he knew that he was looking down the barrel of a substantial legal case. He started giving away / money laundering / covering his tracks of all of his wealth to try to funnel it to his family and his friends.
Sure.
So that the feds wouldn't come in and take all of it. And he's a piece of shit. So fuck him, because he's what makes our industry just look absolutely horrible. And it's maddening. So then there's another theory that goes on with what happened during the flash crash, is that there is a big investment firm called Waddell and Reed, and they had around the same time they had placed a sell of 75,000 S&P 500 contracts to the tune of, would be the equivalent of about $4 billion trading volume dollars in the market, and ended up crashing it. So this is the deal. So if you want to know, one of the ways that you can kind of expect what the market's going to do is you can look at the futures market. So if it was 2008, which we talked about, and you looked at the futures market was against the market. They didn't think that the market was going to do very well. And so what happens is it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where the fact that there's so many people betting against the market going up, that the market doesn't go up.
Right.
And so what ends up happening is that you have this major investment firm that took these contracts, dumped them on the market. The futures contract market starts to tank. Then all these other hedge funds. So a hedge fund. So if you invest in a mutual fund or an ETF, they are regulated by the SEC, and they have certain standards that they have to do. But then you have hedge funds, which are not regulated by the SEC, and they can take 100% of their money and they can invest it in a movie script if they want to. And if the movie flops, you lost all your fucking money. There's no rules to it, where if it's a mutual fund, you have to have, certain regulations. You can't drift too far. You have to stick with your objective. They keep a watchdog on you. But hedge funds are just like the fucking wild, wild west. And so what ended up happening was that you have all these hedge funds coming in, and they're seeing the market go down. They're turning around and buying it. Then they're turning around selling it. And then you have limit orders,
spread.
And they're doing a spread. Yeah, I don't do sports betting, but I've heard that it's relative to sports betting. So you have a stop order. Like, let's say that MGM is $10 and you want to sell MGM at $12. You put in a stop order, and the minute that MGM goes over $12, it automatically turns into a market order, and it executes at whatever the next price is. So the next price could be $12.01, or it could be $10. It just depends. That's what a stop order does, and depending on what side of the transaction you're on, depends on how your stop order is. And then there's limit orders, which say, I want to sell MGM at $12. And if it triggers over $12, but then drops again, it's not going to execute your trade until it goes back over $12 and stays long enough to get your orders out. So if somebody's doing a trade in the market, it's considered a market order. If I put in a trade to buy MGM right now, I am putting in a straight up market order, and it gets executed behind whoever's in front of me with market orders. But part of this whole selling and the hedge funds going back and forth, the high-frequency trading got involved. And I've mentioned this before on this podcast about the book called Flash Boys, and all of the different ways that a lot of these bigger hedge funds and these high trading firms start doing, where they get as close to they can, or they're in the same building as the actual indexes, so that they get all of the information, a tenth of a second faster. And so they have a whole bunch of things that are executed. So if Procter & Gamble goes into bankruptcy, they're going to get the information 25/5 of a second before anybody else will. And they have an algorithm that as soon as that happens, they're going to catch it, and they're either going to sell it because they're going to get ahead of everybody else who's going to find out later that Procter & Gamble, say, is in bankruptcy and now they're trying to dump the stock. They're going to get the information first, take advantage of it, and either profit off of it or limit their losses. They also do a thing that's called front running, where if it's just the three of us, okay, and Zoe has a trade to put in and it's MGM stock, and I also as an advisor happen to own MGM stock, but I know that MGM just said they're coming out, they're doing bankruptcy. So Zoe is my client. Zoe says sell all my MGM stock, but before I sell her stock, I want to get the fuck out first because I also have MGM stock. I place my trade before hers. I'm considered front running, which means that I'm putting my order in front of her. And so what happens with these hedge funds is that because they get all of this information, whether it's good or bad, they immediately buy up all of the liquidity, or not all of it. But this is what happened during the flash crash of 2010, is that they end up coming in and buying huge swaths of stock, or selling huge swaths of stock, and they end up taking and sucking all of the market out. So what happened in the flash crash is that you had hedge funds coming in, and all these big orders started moving, and it's like boom, 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 back and forth, and they're buying and selling the same shit over and over and over and over again. We get the information later. And we're like, what the fuck is going on? Why is everything tanking? We're trying to figure it out. Let's say a client's like, sell me out, which, it happened too fast. This happened within 3 minutes.
Wow.
The total span of it was, I think, 7 minutes long, but the most damage happened in the first 3 minutes. So a client, an advisor could not have reacted fast enough, but all these algorithms could. And so they're buying and selling shit and profiting off each other. And then finally, all of their algorithms start triggering like, hey, this is not normal trading. So what they do is they freeze everything. And so now you had 49% of all of the trading volume that was going back and forth in these 3 minutes or so, or these major hedge fund, these big fucking guys. And they go, oh, something's weird. And they all fucking stop. And then what happens is as people are trying to actually get out, if there's a client that's actually trying to get out of the market, there's nobody buying it anymore, because most of the action in the market that was driving up the volatility were these firms. They've now stopped. So now the people that are trying to get out of it, there's no buyer. So if you have a house that you're trying to sell, and 2008, nobody can buy that shit. Unless I guess you had cash at the time. But it's the same situation. You're trying to get out, and there's no liquidity in the market. And so what happens is that you can have, and you had within the flash crash, because of that, it ended up distorting the prices of certain securities that were in securities or stocks. It started distorting the pricing of certain stocks and took them as low as like a cent for like a split second. And it took Apple and a couple other stocks, and it at one point drove them over $100,000 a share.
Oh my
Okay,
goodness. That's
Berkshire Hathaway,
Right.
That's Berkshire Hathaway shares. But so if you have something like the Dow, going back to our same example, you're talking about 30 stocks, and right now the Dow is swinging like a fucking bitch. Because of everything that's going on, and our market is all over the place right now. If you have a time period where all of a sudden Apple goes from, I don't know what it was at the time, it was probably $60 or something at the
It's
time.
about $70.
Yeah, but was $70? Yeah, so $60 or $70, and then all of a sudden it shoots up to $100,000. Now you just move the Dow by like fucking a ton of time, because remember that the weighted, it's drawn by price. So now you've just added extra fake volatility, and what ends up happening is if all of a sudden everybody stops, and there's no liquidity in the market, and people aren't buying and selling and being able to turn cash over, then in the absence vacuum of any buyers, you have shares that will fall to 1 cent. And it's like a placeholder where they will say, okay, I'll buy anybody's shares of X company for 1 cent. Well, when we're talking about stop orders, because remember how a stop order works. If I have MGM at $10 and I have a stop order at $12. Once it goes over $12, what happens is it triggers the sell, but then it's going to execute at the very next price. And it also protects on the downside too. But what happens is that if you, soon as you trigger a stop order, it goes to a market order immediately. And if you happen to catch it when everything's halted and now it's down to a penny, your market order gets filled.
Wow.
And you end up selling at a penny. Now, to the best of my knowledge, that didn't happen during the flash crash, but that is the potential because the market order just says, give it to me at the next price. The market order, and these are all algorithms. It's not like there's a person anymore saying, oh, something's fucking wonky. We're not doing that. No, the computer just goes, okay, this is a market order and this is the only offer to buy out there. So now I'm executing, and now all of a sudden just gains, positions, principal, cost base, fucking everything. It's gone. It's shot. And so this is what ended up happening as part of the flash crash. And there was also some different thing where they said that they said it was because the market was undervalued, the market was overvalued, and it's the thing is that we're still in the same position. So we haven't learned anything from 1987. We haven't learned anything from 2010. What they've tried to do is they've tried to go ahead and they've tried to install on the market circuit breakers, where they basically, if you have a position that swings more than 10%, I believe it is, and I'm gonna check my notes real quick, 10% within 5 minutes, then it freezes all of the trading in that position. By 10% in 5 minutes, it freezes the trading on that security, that stock, for 5 minutes while they figure out what the hell is going on. So you still have high frequency traders. You still have them doing a whole bunch of different things to manipulate the markets to get information a little bit faster, which still does push the average Joe back. So from all of the lessons from 1987, we haven't learned anything. And you know, they do try to, there's a whole bunch of different regulating bodies, and they do try to keep a wrap on it. But unfortunately, and the more and more and more technical we get, you know, what happens if we get attacked? What happens if they attack our technology and they come in and all of a sudden they you know, you take something like the S&P 500. We've talked about this again on the same index podcast we talked about with the Dow. And you have somebody attack the system, and all of a sudden you either fuck with the futures contracts on the S&P 500 to make it look like all of a sudden the market's going in the shitter and nobody knows why, and there's a panic selling, and you eliminate wealth immediately by panic selling. Or they come in and then they start fucking with things where they make things look like they're different prices than people are buying what they think they're buying at the price, but the market orders are executing. So as we get more and more technology dependent on these algorithms, what ends up happening is that we're more and more susceptible to this kind of thing. And, you know, I've talked about Susie Orman and I've talked about Kramer. I've talked about both of these people, and Kramer, during the flash crash, was on the air, and he was like, "Oh, that's not a good price on Procter & Gamble." So, I mean, that can't be right because it dropped like 22% like immediately, or no, I'm sorry, it went down 25% like literally while he was looking at it. And he said, "Oh, and I know that price is not right." He's like, "But you should just buy it anyway because it's Procter & Gamble and they had a good quarter." He's like, "But I know that's the wrong price." He's like, "But you should just go ahead and buy it anyway." And he's like, "Oh, look," he's like, "It's went up, I don't know, 40% since I told everybody that they should buy it at 12. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Like, just, you're not helping. You're not helping. And this is the thing before, when Zoe and I were having a little bite to eat before we came in here, it's things like this that frustrate me so bad about my industry. And this is why it's important to work with a professional, because there's all kinds of shit that's happening. And if you're watching the Kramers and you're listening to the Susie Ormans and they don't know your situation, you're getting generic fucking advice. And anyway, so we haven't changed. We haven't really moved forward. And so now, so I can calm down, I'm going to talk about
school buses.
Not school buses. I'm going to talk about some horrible videos from the 80s.
Hey, wait a second. I've got something before we dive in there.
Okay.
So, talking about crashes.
Yes.
So, I don't know if you know this, but on August 12th, the day we're actually recording this,
Okay.
the
Way to date the episode.
Argentine stock market fell 35%, and the currency shed 25%. And they say it's because the president didn't do too well in the primaries. That's what they're saying on CNBC. Maybe Kramer said it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and okay, it's
35% and 25%, that's substantial.
Yeah, well, and there's a whole big funk going on right now. Okay, first of all, I if it's from CNBC, I guess I would trust it, but I
got it from Bloomberg, CNBC. They're all saying the same thing.
Okay, well, if they're all saying the same thing,
so now what?
Well, then I would trust them over me, to be quite honest with you. But I'm just a little shocked that a political party can move a stock market and devalue a currency that fast.
Well, it looks like he's a business friendly president that has promised to continue the same austerity driven approach if he's reelected. So apparently, his austerity driven approach has been pretty painful. Mm-hmm. So that looks like what's driving it.
Okay, so, and we'll be talking on one of our episodes about Brexit and the Eurozone and the European Union and the austerity measures of Greece. And I mean, they're strict measures, so usually they are pretty painful.
Yep.
So maybe they just don't,
But I think they did their own.
that.
The president kicked in. He says, I'm going to do my own austerity. Apparently, they have some other problems. You should check into that.
Yeah, I'm dying to know, sarcastically and partially true at the same time. But and that's the big funk that's going on right now is that China has taken and devalued their currency.
Yep.
Because the tariffs keep going up.
Yep.
And so, of course, the way that you combat the tariffs when you can't combat them is you just make your currencies so low that people can still import shit from you and pay the tariffs. And, we can do that to an extent with the dollar. And part of the way that we do that is we would lower interest rates in the economy, which we've already talked about that as well. But then what happens is the market gets spooked because they think there's problems. And then we go into a tailspin, yada, 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 and it just fucking goes on.
Yep.
So let's talk about some fun shit.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I'm only going to talk about a couple, and then I'm going to save my worst two for the end.
Okay.
But so the first one I'm going to start with is Iran by Flock of Seagulls. And Iran. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember
I
the
thought
video?
you meant the country. I was like,
Oh,
I don't
Iran.
know that one.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't know Iran? Yeah, so do you guys remember the video?
No.
Okay.
No.
So first of all,
remembers the
the whites are turned up so bright, like everything in the video is just flooded with white. It looks like how Zoe
my
does.
face.
Yeah, how Zoe does when we record, and she doesn't darken up her screen. She's just like white as a sheet. And there's these women in like space outfits with horrible makeup on, and all they're doing is like walking shoulder and shoulder at him, and he's like in a house of mirrors that for some fucking reason he can't get out, so he's just like constantly through the video like touching. I mean, and it's not like he's walking through a room of mirrors, it's like literally 5 mirrors behind him, that's it. And he's
can't
just
get out.
He can't get. He can't.
There's 5 mirrors.
If it was like a house of mirrors, I'd get it. But they're recording, so you can't catch the camera in the mirror. So he's like literally just doing this shit, like pantomiming on the mirror. And
I'm in a box.
yeah, and then the women are just walking. And by the end of the video, all 5 of them are by the same 5 mirrors. Just I can't do anything, and the women are just I don't know. And it's so fucking bright. It's absolutely ridiculous. My other one is going to be there's a couple more. Come on, Eileen.
Oh, I
Eileen.
love that
So
record.
first of all, that song is dirty as shit.
It is?
Yes.
What's dirty about it?
I don't think so. Not as a child. That was my first 12-inch record. That cannot be dirty.
He's like, okay, you in that dress, my thoughts I confess, well, they're dirty, so come on, Eileen. Prove your love to me, come on. And then in the middle of it, he's like, Eileen to Lou. And now you have shown, now you have proved, oh, Eileen, he's trying to get her in bed.
Oh,
and she's like a young thing. Yeah.
I don't think
Look
so.
he's looking
I
at
think
the
they're
lyrics.
just trying to be friends.
No, that song
I do
is,
remember his dungarees, though. I wanted dungarees ever since.
Okay, I was totally going to rank on that because they're all in overalls and they're fucking stupid. And he wanted, in the video, he wanted everybody to be as authentic to, I don't know, 18, early 19, I don't know what episode. So, like, no bras and underwears and shit. And
easy for him to say.
yeah, and he's
that
not.
poor woman in the
Yeah, well, you can see in one part she's running and like she's, he's like trying to mac with her and she's like running away like, no, leave me alone. And as she's running, she's covering, because I had to rewatch the video so I could, and she's like holding her boobs because when you don't, Stormy doesn't know, but when you
I
don't
know that.
when you don't wear a bra, Stormy, you move around.
Really?
Yeah. So if you're running, even with smaller boobs, if you're running, she's like, so she's running and she's like, you could see her hand across her.
I couldn't
I need
run
to go.
without bra.
How would I research that on the internet?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe women.
Because I don't believe you, so I
think
need
it's
to do some
Baywatch.
research.
Baywatch is how you research
Baywatch?
that. Yeah.
Okay, Baywatch.
And in the
And
interesting.
they're not real. So
Oh yeah, but
probably
but she was gorgeous. Pam Anderson was gorgeous, and they fired the drummer halfway through the video.
In the video?
In the video, no, I mean they fired so if you watch the beginning part of the video,
Is it
the
a different
drummer's
drummer?
there. No,
Yeah.
the drummer's there, and then at the end of there's no drummer. They literally fired him in the middle of the shoot, but they're all like doing this thing, and they're all doing this weird I don't know if it's an Irish jig, but it's fucking awful, and I remembered it.
Them Dexys Midnight Runners.
And of course, we've already talked about this before. Dancing in the Streets, David Bowie, Mick Jagger. I had to bring that one back up again. I honestly think this one and the next video I'm going to talk about was my inspiration for this idea. And of course, Rock Me Tonight by Billy Squier. Which, if you guys follow our social media feed, I posted this video back when we did the David Bowie episode, and it's awful. It's like my friend, Marianne, she describes it as like a slumber party for like 30-year-old dudes, and he's like, and at one point he's sitting there and he's like, he rips off his shirt.
Rips off his own T-shirt.
Yeah, and he's not super built, but I mean, but he rips off his shirt, not like a Hulk Hogan, like, here's my chest, like in this, I wish you guys could see on the visual, like this fucking rock pose as he's like, and he lifts his knee as he's ripping it off, and then he's crawling on his stomach, and everything's pink for some reason. And
He's
at
just
some point,
dancing to himself in his bedroom like a teenage girl.
I know, and the director's like, go with it.
Just feel it.
I first of all punch that director and fire that fucker because that was horrible. Levels of Battlefield, we've already talked about that one. I'll say this one, and then I'll say these last two, and then I'm going to hold off on the rest of mine. Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler. Tyler. I don't know why I have Taylor. Taylor's? Is it Taylor's? And
when in doubt, add Ness.
yes, exactly. It makes everything correct. So there's a whole bunch of shit going on in this video, but what you have to do is you have to Google. We're going to do it after this episode because I don't think Zoe and Stormy's seen it. Is you have to Google or not YouTube literal video Bonnie Tyler Total Eclipse of the Heart, and it is the funniest shit you will ever see in your life. And they have a couple of them, and they literally sing what's going on in the video. And it is the best literal video. Meech turned me on to it long time ago, and it's hilarious. And then Safety Dance by Men Without Hats. He's dancing with the dwarf, little person, midget. I don't know. And they're doing all kinds of weird stuff, and it's just
In medieval times.
in medieval, yeah, supposedly, but they're wearing shoes at least, where some of the Dexy and the Midnight Runners were not. And Come On Eileen video. So I'm going to hold off on my other ones, and I'm going to let Zoe get in here because there's so many good, awfully bad ones. So,
Well, I'm going to start with Eye of the Tiger, Survivor.
I can't remember the video.
They start off, they're all just like in a V, walking along like this.
The band, Survivor?
Yeah,
Okay.
The band, like they're in a pack, ready
They're
to
a gang.
do some. They're a gang. Yeah,
Okay.
they're going to do some damage, but then it's interspersed with some fighting stuff.
They're actually fighting?
No, but some scenes.
Some scenes of fighting. Okay.
Yeah. And
gotta
then
watch the video again.
By the end, they're all like drenched in sweat and stuff, and it's just very bizarre. And but it's just a top song. So it was my ringtone for a while in England. I just loved.
Great song.
Yeah, I just call myself so I could hear the song.
That's what I do with mine now.
Yeah, so that's one of mine. Starship, We Built This City. Did you say that?
We
already? No, you
built
didn't.
this city.
Oh, it's a song that Stormy knows.
Hey.
We built this city on rock and roll.
Okay.
Built this city.
The saying rock and roll the way you did was horrible. And I hate that song. I've always hated that song.
Yep.
Another one. Oh,
going back and looking at it, this again, if you don't remember, you got to go back and look at this. Dead or Alive, you spin me around, and they're all duct taped. They're all duct taped in weird ways, and then the lead singer with his little patch is just still like looking fine, and I just got a bit
Big
of duct tape
teased
around
hair.
me, and he's looking.
And they have big
fabulous.
flags that they're spinning for no reason.
No
and,
reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I mean, I guess because they're spinning them round and round.
round.
Yeah. So
literally,
literally,
yeah, with
spinning
just
them
a
round
bit
and
of
round.
duct tape. But so that's fabulous. Now, I don't like to speak ill of George Michaels.
Michaels.
There's no S on the end, Mel.
I miss him.
Wham! Wake me up before you go.
Pink socks.
The shorts. They're like
They were-
the
they were-
tiniest shorts you've ever seen.
Yeah, but okay, maybe, and Stormy can maybe back me up on this. In like the 70s and early 80s, even like the basketball players, they all wore shorts, right?
Yes, they were shorts.
Yeah, so I think that was a sign of the time. You wear shorts.
Shorts.
George Michaels.
We all wear shorts.
Stormy, did you ever wear shorts?
I wore Speedos.
He did wear shorts
I
because
did wear
that
short
was
shorts.
the short.
That was the shorts. Yeah, there was no such thing as long shorts.
Yeah, and Lemmy Kilmister is a lead singer for Motorhead. He's passed away, but he was notorious for wearing
Lemmy,
Daisy.
did you say?
Lemmy.
Oh, I remember. Lemmy, did he wear shorts?
He wore. I'm gonna
Yeah,
post
that
it
was
on
the
social
style.
media. He wore Daisy. They were cut so short that you know how when you take a pair of jeans and you cut them off like we did in the 80s, the pocket
hangs out?
The pocket hangs out. Like that's how short that his shorts were, and I think he probably wore them with like fucking kick you in your face boots or something. But anyway,
That's a scary image.
I'm
right
gonna
there.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna find
post
it. It's
that.
hilarious.
Now, this is one that Stormy might remember. Olivia Newton-John, Physical.
Yes. Let's get physical. I wanna get physical. Let's get.
Let me hear your body talk.
Do you remember the video?
Oh, I do.
Okay.
There was some larger people, and then there was some men in not much, even shorter shorts.
And I think they were in mostly like Speedos, and then
Thongs.
and all I remember is that she's in the shower, but she's fully clothed.
Yeah,
Why are you in the shower fully clothed? Like, I don't even understand that.
because she wanted to stay looking fine and just looking at all these.
Beefy men what happened at the end of the video?
I don't remember the end. Do tell.
The guys all pair off together and leave her there.
That
Yes.
would make sense because,
That's-
yes, I do remember
Yep,
seeing
they
them.
all walk out holding hands, and they leave her when she was all excited about, I guess, getting some man stuff.
She wasn't in the right place, was
Wasn't
she?
in the right place.
No,
She's
she
not
was
wrong
not.
gym.
Okay, now how about Journey, Separate Ways? This was their first video, apparently,
Oh, I didn't know that.
and it is awful. They are dressed awfully. They're playing air instruments.
Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly, did he have a keyboard on the
on the
wall?
wall,
Yeah,
yes.
so he was like
Yeah,
this, playing
This-
a keyboard on the wall.
Yeah, and then other times they're just doing air instruments.
I forgot about that.
Then there's some
Yeah.
hot chick
She keeps walking.
keeps walking, and then right at the end she wakes up.
Oh, does she wake up?
yeah.
I don't remember that
Yeah.
part. And all I remember is he was like Steve Perry. He's like, "How we touched and went," and he puts to make a big X, separate ways. Like it was really dramatic. And I remember seeing him make the X. I was like, "That's so fucking cool." He's like, "Rah," like he's being.
Except for it's not.
I know it didn't age well. Okay.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
How about Thomas Dolby? She blinded me with science.
I don't
You
even
Oh,
remember
I
the
love
video.
that one.
I love the song, but I can't even remember the video.
Remember the old
Wasn't that part
guy?
of Oh no.
Science. I remember that part.
Science. She blinded me with science.
I know, but I can't remember the video though. That's what I'm saying. I remember the
Got
old
the famous
guy
dude in it that plays the scientist, who is the scientist.
who's
But-
screaming science.
Yes.
Okay.
I remember that video.
I don't remember that video. I only remember the
Wasn't he
science
making
part.
like a female Frankenstein or something?
No, that was the movie it was based on. Weird Science.
Great
Oh, that's
movie.
right. But
Was that Weird Science? Because
Yeah, that was
there's
Weird
a song
Science,
Weird
but-
Science.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I've got 4 more.
Oh
Got
yeah,
time?
no,
Okay.
no, we're gonna go through this.
We talked
I
about
gotta
this
wash
at
all that
lunch.
shit out. That financial
Yeah.
bad taste in my mouth.
Sticks, Mr. Roboto.
Domo.
This was voted the second worst video ever by Video Gaga, a music blog. So
Yeah, I vaguely remember. I remember it was gray.
Mr. Roboto.
Right. Domo, and it's gray for some reason. Everything's gray in it, and then there's like a guy wearing like a fake.
All of them are wearing robot costumes.
Oh, was it all of them?
Yeah.
See,
and
I
they all
can't remember the
dance in
video.
robot costumes and
Oh my gosh.
dance robotically. Funnily enough,
Of course.
not literal at all.
Yeah, not in a cool breakdancing way.
No,
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 not in that way at all.
very uncool. And then my next one, also because I wanted you to put this
On the playlist.
on the playlist, is Go West. We Close Our Eyes. And dude from Go West, I can't remember I can see his face so clearly, but I can't remember his name. He's dancing with a giant pipe wrench.
No, shut up. Are you serious?
Yes. Tell me that doesn't mean something. Don't know what.
I don't know what that means. Okay.
It's very phallic, isn't it? Why is he
A
dancing
pipe
with
wrench,
a pipe
though?
wrench?
I mean, a pipe wrench
wrench.
is.
We close our eyes whenever. Whatever the rest is. But anyway.
Okay.
So check that one out.
Can't wait to put that on the playlist.
And then from one extreme to another, Cher, If I Could Turn Back Time, where she's straddling the cannon.
That
in
was
one
my
of her
favorite video by
costumes.
Cher. I swear to God.
Really?
Yeah, she was on a ship of all men, and she looked amazing at the time. She was like 50 something, and yeah, like all these dudes were.
Sailors, yeah.
All these sailors were, yeah, and
All
she
these
was the seaman. She was straddling a cannon, with her little sailor hat on. Right? Is that when did she have the hat on by the time she was?
Something happened at the
Yeah.
end, I read, where she passes out or something. I don't know what that's all about.
I can't remember. I only remember like parts of that video.
Too much semen. Too many
Maybe,
semen.
hey, whatever.
Cut that bit out.
Yeah, we're not gonna cut it out. We're gonna keep that shit in. Yep. Nope.
Sorry, Mom.
Nope. We're holding it.
Okay.
And first of all, if your mother
Yeah.
listens to this podcast,
She
thanks,
doesn't.
Mom. Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
All right.
absolutely.
she doesn't. Nor does my dad. Nor
Okay,
does-
well then we're
Yeah.
keeping all semen in.
Screw you.
Semen all the time. Yep.
And
We're
then
gonna
my-
keep that in too.
Then my last one, save the best till last, although you won't know this one, but when you're going to enjoy looking it up. Cliff Richard, Sir Cliff, to you guys, Wired for Sound. Sir Cliff is leather clad on roller skates with all his backing crew are in lycra catsuits, and you have to see it to believe it. So
Yep.
well done, Sir Cliff. You aged well.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna let you got some for
Yeah,
us,
I've got
Stormy.
some, absolutely.
Okay, then we're gonna turn it over to Stormy. I have a couple more. Oh wait, before Zoe has something she forgot apparently.
Elton John, I'm Still Standing.
I loved that video.
Oh, it was shot on the French coast, and he does human dominoes, and they're
Yeah.
all body painted.
I loved it. And
Yeah.
then he's in different suits and he's doing the
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my favorite Elton John song. So
And it's Elliot's.
yes, I know you always tell me,
I know.
but more importantly, it's my Elliot. It's my favorite song.
There we go.
Yeah,
Most
I was born
importantly.
first. Hey, look,
Yep.
man,
Yeah.
that is
There
how
it
it
is.
is.
And
Okay,
then I just want to say one more because it's the weirdest fucking video ever, Stormy. So
Okay.
you need to look this up while
I'll look
she's
it
talking.
up. Got it.
This isn't from the 80s, though. This is from the...
Oh, we
but
gotta keep
this
it
is
from the
for
80s.
No, because there's also the 2010
It's-
one. And
yeah.
this is probably from the 2010 region.
she tied it in. She just did it.
I just did it right there.
Right
And
there,
it's
just
the
like that.
weirdest video you've ever seen. It's by Basement Jaxx, and the song was Where's Your Head At? And it features monkeys like from a lab, and they have human faces, the faces of the band.
Isn't that the song? Where's your head at?
Where's your head at?
Oh, I do.
Where's your head at?
I do remember
Yeah.
that
Where's
song
your head
now.
at?
Look at the video.
Okay.
Because
That's
Basement
freaky.
Jaxx is Jaxx, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay.
So, look that one.
So I've
up.
got some songs.
Any
I'm
more,
done now.
Zoe?
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm really
All right.
done.
I have a couple more, but I want
I've
Stormy
got
to weigh
one.
in. Okay.
So I've got Let's Get Physical by.
Of course you do.
Yes.
You can't stop looking at it
that
now.
was great.
Yeah,
Yep.
well done.
Okay, do you like that one?
Yeah. Yep.
What about? I also have Mr. Roboto.
Yes.
You are fucking with me again.
Yeah. Give us something. Give us
Okay,
something new.
you want something new?
I
Okay.
do.
Well, what about what about David Hasselhoff? He has a look up his video, "Hooked on a Feeling."
Hooked on a feeling.
I
He
know.
like-
I was to say, is that
He
the
like
real
flies
song?
on a motorcycle. Yeah.
Are you
David
fucking lying?
Yeah,
No,
he's like
he
on a
doesn't.
motorcycle, and he's like,
No, he's not.
yeah, David Hasselhoff. He can do a lot.
The Hoff can do no wrong.
Dude,
Hoff can do no
Germany
wrong. Absolutely.
loves them
They
some
do.
Hoff.
Oh,
yeah,
God, they do.
geez,
Yeah.
man. He sang when the Berlin Wall came down like that. It's a historical thing. Who do you want to play at the most historical event of the 80s? Fucking David Hasselhoff.
But here's the beauty of it. When he's doing it, he's got these glacial landscapes and African savanna and alpine slopes behind him. And as he is standing on a motorcycle, flying.
Is he like he's sitting on it with his
No,
arms
he's
open or
standing. He's standing on the seat, and he's
No.
just like floating around. Yep,
Oh,
David Hasselhoff. You got to check it out.
I can't even
He
believe
only
I got to
does
put.
one and he wins.
The CGI
I can't believe I got to
is
put.
incredible.
I can't believe I got to put "Hooked on a Feeling" by David Hasselhoff
You got to put that on
the
there.
playlist.
Yes,
so I'm going to
you
give you
do.
some other ones.
Okay.
I've got Somebody Watching Me by Rockwell.
Oh, you think that? Well, I mean, all I remember is
that
that the
song.
postman.
Somebody's feeling.
Yeah.
Somebody's watching. He's running around and for no reason.
Yeah, and then
whatsoever.
there's
Shower?
the post. He was in the shower, and then the
He was in the shower.
postman.
His boxers were kind of showing in the shower.
Yeah, and
Always wear your boxes when you're in the shower.
Yes.
it's
Always.
important.
Just in case.
And he had a zombie. Like the postman had like a fake zombie hand. He's all like giving him a letter, and I remember
Oh,
because
you
I'm
wouldn't like that.
terrified of zombies, and so even when I was little, I was like, "Why is he a zombie?" Like yeah.
Okay, so here's another one. What about by Jermaine Stewart? We don't have to take her. I
Oh,
can't even sing. We don't have to
clothes
take her clothes off.
off. Oh, my
And remember, as he's singing it,
gosh.
there's a gal in the background. She's like dancing, and they're splashing water. I mean, she's dancing, taking her clothes off throughout the entire video, and they're splashing water on her.
I
Like somebody
remember the
with a cup of
splashing water thing,
Yeah.
and I remember and then at the very end, she's like grabbing him, and he's like, no, like he's pushing her off, like, no, I don't want to have sex with you, and
let's just
she just
talk.
keeps and let's express our feelings, and she keeps trying to take his clothes off, and he's like, no, like he's being attacked. I remember that, and
Yes,
even in the 80s, I was like, I call bullshit. Even when I heard the song, I was like, I call bullshit.
Oh, God.
What about Cameo Word Up?
Oh, I remember that
Do
video.
you remember that one?
Yeah.
He had a big
He's
cod
just-
piece.
A
Oh.
big
Or
pop piece.
cock-
He's just standing there with
Is it a
camera
cock-
angle shoot.
Is it a cod piece or a
Cod
cock
piece.
piece?
Whatever you
Cod.
know, cock piece.
No, it's COD.
A cup.
It's a cod
Oh,
piece.
cod piece.
I know.
I thought it was a cod. Okay, it's one of
No.
those things, but it's a big red like yield.
Plastic
Apparently, he still wears it.
Really?
He does.
Yeah.
They come
Nice.
here every
And
so often,
they're
don't they?
yeah,
I'd
they
see
come
them.
here a lot, and apparently he still rocks the cod piece.
I bet he does.
Interesting.
They played at my school. I'm telling you, the one day I wasn't at school because I was a good girl, and they played at my school.
Oh, that
Wow.
sucks, dude.
Karen, I think you have one
Yeah.
of their drumsticks, if I'm not mistaken. Let us know.
Wow. First of all, why were they playing at your school? That's a
I
little
don't
creepy.
know. Unless everyone lied to me just to make me feel bad because I missed it, which is entirely
What grade?
possible.
What grade was that? What grade was that?
It was high school.
Why would they go
Interesting.
play it at
High school, that's kinda
underage
weird.
girls,
Well,
maybe.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Never know.
All right. Okay.
And I guess I'll give you the last one because this one's a little weird because this person's known for making phenomenal videos, but I guess everyone can have a flop every now and then. But Michael Jackson, You Are Not Alone.
Oh, when he was kissing the Presley chickie. Oh my God. And they're both wearing like, she's topless, but in like, I haven't seen that in forever, in a little skirt. And they're like kind of giggling, acting like they're
Yeah.
going to make out, but they never actually make out because I don't think they even consummated their marriage.
He tried
I mean,
to be sexy.
yeah. Do you
Yeah.
remember when they were on the VMAs and he's like, and to think, and I love MJ. Everybody in this podcast knows I do. And he's like, and to think they said this wouldn't last. And then they go to kiss, but it's so awkward that they bump lips and then they kiss and everybody's like, ooh, like they don't know what to do. And then she's so embarrassed and he's like, whatever. And she's like, does this. And she's so embarrassed they shimmy themselves off stage.
Nice.
And I saw that. I was like, there's no way you guys have fucked. There's absolutely no way. And I still don't understand why they got married. But it was obvious. I was like, these people have not consummated shit. And I think they were married a year and a half or two, right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that one. Okay, so I'm gonna round this out. You got any more, Zoe? Are you sure?
Round it
No,
out.
I'm
Okay.
done.
Whip It by
Oh, that was
Devo.
a great video.
Okay, but
They're all
there's
standing there. Whip it.
right, but
Whip it good.
but he has a whip and he's like undressing a woman, like he's cracking the whip at her and he's ripping off parts of her clothes. But there is a part in there where there is an Asian lady and she's very cross-eyed. And the way they shoot the video, it's like almost like a comic relief.
Worse than what's his face? Worse than
Yes.
Fire Island.
Yes,
Ja Rule?
yes, way worse. Like literally where one eye is straight and literally one eye's like they're perpendicular to each other. And it turns out she was dating one of the guys in the band. And so yeah, they're like taking off their clothes with it. I mentioned Love is a Battlefield already. That one was cheesy, and I had to watch that one again. There's another song, Meech turned me on to, Call to the Heart by Garifria, that apparently is played on Sirius nonstop, and it's the ultimate of cheese. It starts out like Once Bitten, Twice Shy by Great White, but the hair is horrible, and he's calling on the phone, and he's crying, and it's just fucking crazy. And then this one, and then I'm going to round it out. Two more, and then my worst two. For Wild Boys by Duran Duran.
Oh, Wild Boys.
Do you remember the video, though?
Was that the one on the ship or not? No, that's Rio. What was Wild
Rio
Boys?
was on the street, yeah. Or Girls on Film.
Girl-
Well,
oh.
yeah, Girls on Film was on the street. Actually, maybe they were both on a ship, but no, this one wasn't. Do you remember Wild Boys by Duran Duran?
I remember the song. Wow, boys.
So Simon Le Bon is this is the only part of it I remember. Yes.
wheel.
Yes, he's on a windmill, and he's going, and as he goes down, it drags the very tip of his head drags through
Yes.
water.
Oh.
And I was so terrified when I was little. I was like, "Oh my God, he's going to drown."
Not Simon Le Bon.
And he's like, "Wild Boys," and he's like just continuously like getting
Yes.
dipped. And I think everybody was. I haven't seen it forever. I think everybody was on there. But when I thought of it, I was like, "Oh my God!" There's that video that scared the shit out of me. And then I just lost it. Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah.
It had
It's just-
Captain Lou I think it was Captain. Was it Captain Lou with all the rubber bands? He was a wrestler, or he was a hype man for a wrestler. Was it Captain Lou?
I don't know.
Anyway, and so my biggest two, and then we're all done with this. Is I have mentioned this video before too. "Summertime Girls" by Y&T. So "Summertime Girls, ooh baby." Anyway, and you know what I just realized did not make the list, and I put it on social media for our last episode, was Michael Bolton's rock video.
Oh, yeah.
That's a different episode, but you should read it. So they go to the beach to pick up some chickies, and some chickies are dressed like mermaids, and there's this other gang of girls, and they're all dressed in leather and fishnets on the beach for some reason.
As you do.
And like full spiky jewelry and stuff, and these guys just keep getting rejected constantly by girls, and then you see these leather-clad chickies using motor oil, and they're putting it on them like suntan lotion. And they're like negligee / swimsuit / fishnet apocalyptical. I don't know what it is. And at the end, of course, they come over, and then they pick up these guys, and I guess these guys go off with these girls. But the motor oil just kills me. And then my all be all, and I've mentioned this one before, and I'm going to mention it to it again because I could not find a worse video than this one, is "Fly High Michelle" by Enough's Enough. It is all pink, rainbows, balloons. This is an 89. Okay, so this is we're on the tip of grunge. Like grunge is about to come and annihilate hair metal, but we don't know it yet. But even at that time, hair metal was overdone. Like we were done with it. It was starting to die down. You had, Axl came out with back in 87 with Appetite for Destruction, Welcome to the Jungle. His hair was ratted, and then his hair was straight. But most of the rockers had started toning down on the hairspray and the makeup. Nope. This is like, I don't know. I think he's talking about maybe a lady who committed suicide.
What's the name of the song?
"Fly High Michelle."
By who?
By Enough, Enuff, Enough. And so there's this part where they're all wearing like John Lennon glasses, and they're on the ground, and there's a puddle, and there's a rainbow shooting out of it, and then they're like handing balloons to these grown ass women, and they're like floating in. I'm not even fucking making this up. They're like floating in the air, and it's just it is the worst thing. I have never seen a video. Even Billy Squier, "Rock Me Tonight," is not as bad as "Fly High Michelle." Are you watching it, Stormy?
Yeah, they've got a gal with balloons flying up. They're on a cloud with rainbows.
Yeah, and they're ratted.
Sounds
I mean,
magical.
their hair is just
Looks
teased.
good. I like it.
Teased to the ultimate top. And they have tons of makeup on. Like we're talking like Poison's first album level size of makeup, and this came out in 89. And it's videos like that sometimes make me appreciative for grunge wiping out hair metal, because it was just awful. And so that concludes
This episode.
this episode. And we're going to try to be posting on our social media links to all of these videos so that you can enjoy them with us. because they're pretty awful. We're gonna pull in a dude dancing with a pipe wrench and balloons and rainbows and shit and zombies. That's how we're gonna do it.
There it is.
There it is. All right. Well, as always, please follow us on social media and keep up with this. If you have any ideas on potential episodes you'd like to hear, go ahead and contact us through social media and holler at us.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you like us, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.